Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning, back on the topic of the NFL today. Today, Jay and I are looking again at free agency. We just did a video on which teams had the best free agency moves, but now we're looking at the individual acquisitions of the players and looking at the most valuable free agency signings this year so far. So that's what we're looking at today. But before we get into the video, another question today involving a fight. This time, ex-Chargers, now Patriots tight end, Hunter Henry versus new Patriots tight end Jonnu Smith in a fight. So again, Hunter Henry versus Jonnu Smith. Who you taking? Comment below, and at the end of the video, Jay and I will give you our answers for who we think would win. But Jay, let's get started. Who do you think is? Well, just give me a name to start, and we'll go from there.
Number 5 is actually going to be who the fight is. New England Patriots signing Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. The rest of the teams and top guys will just be our top signings of just one player, but we're going to combine the two. Same position. Similar route. Similar. I like the Patriots making this move. If you just look at the Patriots in the past few years, Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski, double tight end thing, even when Aaron Hernandez was gone, Patriots made sure to sign Martellus Bennett at one point to have him and Gronk together. It is just the Patriots thing to have two tight ends, and both of these guys are very athletic, very reliable, and have great hands. Hunter Henry does have a knee issue. He gets hurt a good amount, but now that you have Jonnu Smith, if he goes down, it's not ideal because that's a big part of your offense, but it's not like this team's number one tight end is gone because you got two number ones, and they're the best two tight ends on the market. When you sign the best free agent at their position in free agency, it's automatically a win, but to get the best two,
twice. Yeah.
Patriots are making good moves.
Yeah, both of these guys, Jonnu in Tennessee with Tannehill and Hunter Henry in L.A. with Justin Herbert, were big for their quarterbacks in the red zone to be open and just be targets to help them get the ball into the end zone. So I think they'll help Cam Newton out a lot. You make a good point with the past of the Patriots. Just two tight ends, especially two good tight ends, just fits the program, and I think it's just huge for Cam Newton to give him somebody, even if they won't be both in the field at the same time. Either one of them are going to be open more often than not and really help Cam Newton out, help him out, getting him to get the ball down the field and take less sacks, turn the ball over less, all of the above. So this will really help the Patriots out.
Yeah, mentioning Cam Newton was perfect. We know he's not even half of what he used to be, and therefore he needs safety blankets. He needs a reliable guy that is just there. Now he has two. Julian Edelman, he's a reliable guy, but he's been on the team. Now he's got two big versions of Julian Edelman in my eyes. I just think this is perfect for Cam Newton to have a safety guy to always throw to and always have your eye on, but now he has two. But moving on, kind of a boring accusation, but it's definitely worthy of noting. Corey Linsley to the LA Chargers. He was a top center in the league in free agency, and the Chargers absolutely and desperately needed a big name on that offensive line. And Corey Linsley, like I said, best in the game in free agency. He's helped out the Packers tremendously. The Packers were one of the best offensive lines last year. Now that they're losing Corey Linsley and David Bakhtiari's coming off an injury, Packers have a concern, and Chargers, they are as happy as could be. There's a couple accusations, but Corey Linsley is the bread and butter of this offensive line.
Yeah, I really liked the way the Packers protected Aaron Rodgers last year. Obviously, Corey Linsley being a part of that. Sending him to L.A. is big for the Chargers. Their main issue was protecting Justin Herbert, and they have since done plenty with Filer and Ibushi, and now Corey Linsley as well. They've done a great job of restructuring that O-line to help Justin Herbert out, which will help that franchise continue to prosper in the future.
Yeah, and we know you're not a big fan of Austin Eckler, but if they're going to stick with him, they need a offensive line that can guide them. I'd love to see them make a couple other moves on offensive line, but the draft is still yet to come, and even running back, if it comes third round and somehow, some way, Trey Sermon's around, look at it because you got the offensive line that could create the holes, but if not, you got plenty of depth on the running back chart with Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly. Corey Linsley can guide whoever is running behind him and protect his quarterback, and Justin Herbert will make his protection worth your while.
100%.
Next one, kind of an underrated move, but John Johnson to the Browns is an impactful and huge move for their secondary. For the past few years on that Browns defense has been Myles Garrett at the D-line by himself and Denzel Ward in the secondary by himself. They've addressed both, but John Johnson is a big name to this defense, one of the top safeties in the league. He's coming off a number one defense in the NFL with the Rams, his former team, and this is just going to be Denzel Ward, John Johnson, a scary secondary.
Yeah, pulling the Rams, which was the best defense pretty unanimously last year, pulling their best safety is obviously going to be big. John Johnson, a guy that is incredibly good at breaking up passes down the field. He's got good down-the-field speed, so it's really hard to get behind him. And I think this helps this Browns team out. And then, of course, the addition of Troy Hill to a defense that already had Denzel Ward. I think the secondary in the Browns is looking better. But I think that's mainly because of the addition of John Johnson, a guy that's just really, really good at breaking up passes. And he's pretty – last year he only had one interception, but he is known, at least the year before he was known, he intercepted, I think, 5 passes that year. I think he's good at breaking up passes and causing interceptions, even if he's not the one that actually picks the ball off. A lot of tip drills that result in interceptions caused by him, so I think he's going to be great with the Browns.
Yeah, and another thing is the price they got him for, $11 million a year roughly. Probably John Johnson's probably top 7, 8 at his position, and if you could get any guy that high at their position at $11 million or under, it's pretty good of a deal. I don't know if it's an absolute steal, but the value is definitely underpriced, and the Browns could not have made a better sign, in my opinion. They made some other moves, but John Johnson's number 1 there and top 5 in free agency for us. Moving on, number 1 receiver in the free agent market after Chris Godwin and Allen Robinson got franchise tag, Kenny Golladay. But even then, when those two were available, you could make the argument he's better than one of them. But going to the New York Giants, to a Daniel Jones who's desperate for a go up and get it type of receiver, now has his guy with a healthy roster around him and a lot of depth chart on that receiving core to back up Kenny Golladay in Detroit. I don't want to say he was alone. He had Marvin Jones Jr. and Danny Amendola, but he was definitely the number 1 guy that all the defenses knew to go to. Now with the Giants having a lot of separation, in addition to Kenny Golladay, he's going to make a huge impact.
Yeah, I think this is big for the Giants. We're waiting for Daniel Jones to prove if he's really elite or not, and now giving him a receiver like Golladay to be number 1, I think gives him a chance to either prove that he is or not, or he is or is not good. You're getting Saquon back, so really all these pieces together make the Giants a contender for their division 100%, and adding Kenny Golladay into that makes him that much better, which is why we have him on our list at number 2. So I think this is big, and like you said, one of the best wide receivers available in free agency this year.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but how I just mentioned John Johnson was underpriced. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kenny Galladay's getting around $16 or $17 million a year. That's pretty hefty, but he has a chance to be the number 1 receiver in his division. It's arguable. Amari Cooper, he's declined. CeeDee Lamb is emerging. Terry McLaurin, we know how good he is. Eagles don't have anything. So he's right up there and probably top 4, top 3 receiver already in his division, and I think he has a great case at making the number 1. If you're number 1 receiver in the division, the $16, $17 million is reasonable, but we have to see, is he actually going to be worth it?
100%. Who you got at our number 1 spot?
Our top dog, our favorite team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing Shaq Barrett. Really, it doesn't stop there, but me and Carson have said if we get one guy back of this team, we want it to be Shaq Barrett, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He said he's going to break the bank, but the Buccaneers broke his bank, and we got it done. He didn't do it elsewhere. He's home back in Tampa.
Yeah, I think now none of these names were in a particular order, except for I do think Shaq Barrett is the number 1 biggest free agency signing. I think, like Jay said, he said he was going to break the bank, and I think that we were kind of preparing for him to be elsewhere this year, which would have been totally understandable. Got his 2nd ring, and the dude has showed he's worth however much he can get from anyone in the league. But he's coming back, and I think that's huge for the Bucs, huge for Tom Brady to take the pay cuts that he did, that I'm sure played a part in getting Shaq Barrett back. And I think that adding all these guys around him with Sue and Levante David and on the offensive side of the ball, putting more Gronkowski, Fournette. So the list goes on of what the Bucs got back, but this is the biggest one. He was the defensive captain. We saw the way, not just him, but the Bucs defense led by him shut down Tyreek and Travis Kelce. And who was running the ball from that game? Was Edwards-Helaire hurt in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs?
No, he was there.
He was there, so shut down Edwards-Helaire as well. So this Bucs defense really kept the Chiefs at bay, led by Shaq Barrett. We're getting him back, and this Bucs team, I think, is going back to the Super Bowl. So that's why he's at number 1 for us.
Yeah, it was weird. 2 years ago, Jameis Winston's last year at the Bucs before Tom Brady, Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks, and the next year, first year, Tom Brady took a step back. But you have to realize when a guy leads a year in sacks, the next year he's going to get double teamed, and his numbers probably won't be there in the regular season. But with him getting double teamed, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, JPP, those numbers are going to rack up, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter who sacks the quarterback as long as us Buccaneers get after him. And we know regular season, Shaq Barrett is a different animal from him in the postseason, who led us to a Super Bowl run. It wasn't just him, but without him, I don't think we make it.
Yeah, he was also a key piece of the Denver team that won it in, 15, I think, over the Panthers. So he's a great player. So those are our top individual player free agency acquisitions so far. Give us yours in the comments. But as far as question of the day, 2 new Patriots tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. Who are you taking in the fight?
Fully healthy, I'm going to go with the Chargers boy, Hunter Henry. Just think he's got a little bit of size, he's got a good amount of strength. Not to say Jonnu Smith isn't, but I see him as an athletic guy that's a slimmer frame. They're both mutants, but I think Hunter Henry's got the size and weight on him.
I think Jonnu Smith is the better tight end. I think I'd take him on the field, but in a fight, Hunter Henry's got 2 inches on him and a couple pounds, or more than a couple pounds. I think Hunter Henry's got the reach, he's got the size. I'm going with Hunter Henry. Guys, thanks for watching 2 Minute Warning.